Welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Before You Buy. It's Tier Horus, as you might be able to tell from the name. Reason we're trying this out is because I just really like the Egyptian theming.
Wow!
On the fly adjustment, boys. We just put an Appaloosa over the Zeus. After some careful considerations, I think it's the right way to go. We'll find out. Here's a little clip of what we can do uninterrupted. It's sped up to save y'all some time, starting off with our Fenrir, which allows us to search a Tearlaments card. We then pivot to a zombie vampire line, dumping our Horse Boys, love them, which then allows us to mill for and summon a monster out. We're then going to fuse away for our Garura, which gives us a card draw, link it into Cross Sheep, link that into Sprint, which dumps our Merly, which fuses into our very good boy Kaleido Heart. We're then going to think for a second and go into an SP Little Knight line for a monster banish when our opponent activates something. When with our horse, that allows us a card draw, possibly turning on Super Poly, our Kaleido and Trap and Field Spell combo, which is a monster effect negate, spin and fusion, and a pop. Pretty cool. Okay. First game. We go first. Not an ideal hand. Back in the speed zone. So we are able to set up something half decent here, even through his Ash on this Rhino Heart. We've gotten enough to where we can set up our Solic along with a Kaleido Heart, and then we just pass and come to find out he is on Snake Eye. Now, I don't know all that much about Snake Eye, but we do try to negate the Ash effect because I heard some good things about it. And he dodges it, right, with his Fire King spell, which allows him to continue playing on just as normal. We don't really have too much left after that interaction, so he's able to go into Princess and the Flame Bird's Dragon, make a whale, go battle, clear some of our stuff, but not all of our stuff. And I feel like we're in a pretty good position here. So on our turn, we go ahead and make an SP, force out the interaction there, and then when he does try to respond to it, we do negate with our Solic, putting us in a pretty good position. Now, here's where the horse cards really show their worth. Just by virtue of us having that horse field spell, we're able to bring back so many bodies from the grave. Now, we still have our tier plays, and we're able to get another fuse off into Dragostapelia, use those horse cards we mentioned to go into Zombie Vampire, take one of their monsters, and then just go right into battle after refuse again, and start chipping away at that board. Now, all this is because of those horse cards, and then main two, we're able to make a 4-material Appaloosa and just start ticking away at their monster effects with other negates, which this is basically a game at this point. They said scoop. We say... Oh, they left the whole thing. They didn't want the match. Here we have our second match. This is against Raid Raptor. We try to get something off of this tier cache, but they do ash it. Not a bad call, as we soon find out. Now, I'm not all that familiar with Raid Raptor, so we kind of just wait and see what they do. They set up an Ultimate Falcon, which we already have a really hard time outing, but they're not done. On top of that, they keep summoning, and they eventually go into a Ultimate Falcon on our turn after we try to set up some graveyard shenanigans. They make this Rising Rebellion Falcon, and we just don't have an out to it, so that's just scoop. Just play it simple, we're just not winning that. Alright, now we're going first. So we lead with our plan here after a careful consideration, because if we're going to get ashed, I'd want it to be on that planet, because the horse cards just seem to be more impactful, especially with that hand that we had there. So with those horse cards, we are able to go into our zombie vampire. Now, we've decided to go down the line of making a toad for a Omni Negate. From there, we summon them early, try to get some more mills off. Don't really get all that lucky, but we do have a Destrudo in there, and we see what we can do with that. Turn it into a dark, steal their boots, call a swiper, hashtag Dora reference. Able to make a 3-mat Appaloosa with that, leaving our Merly up on the field to make our trap live as well. We spend some Appaloosa negates, and then we wait for them to summon. Upon so, we use our Scream, which basically allows us to wipe our board with our Kaleido field spell combo. Okay, now for the hard part. Really had to speed this one up because they were taking forever and a year throughout this. Side in a bunch of hand traps because that's our only real hope of stopping a Towers deck. Didn't really know where to use our Imperm, so we decided to use it on this Brave Strix, hoping that that would end their turn. But it didn't. They still had some plays off of this, go into their whatever it is that they do. They end on a Shade Brigandine and a bunch of set trap cards, along with this Evil Swarm Nightmare. So we tried to plan to, because I don't see any towers, so I'm thinking, hey, we have a shot. Now, as we're making our plays, fusion summoning, they do go into that Ultimate Falcon, at which point, once again, we're pretty much dead, because that's 4,500 attack that we can affect. Not much that we can really do here, sadly. So, what we've learned so far, decks that are towers, we can out. Now, for our third and final game, we are against something interesting. I'll let them summon to show you. But we have quite the hand to start. But we do lead off with our horse stuff. And then I think, hey, I really don't think that this zombie vampire can afford to be impermed or ash. So we lead with this rhino. He gets baited by it. We are able to successfully resolve that vampire, and man, does it pay off for us. We also find out that they're on Ancient Warriors. So, with that knowledge in mind, I feel it's very vital to end on a Toad because I figure they're going to have some sort of board breaker. So, Toad, Appaloosa, and our Happy, I'm thinking we're sitting pretty good. So, he starts off his turn. We be a little careful with what negates we end up using here. But when we see the Savage Dong Ying drop, we do use our tier cache and see if we can get anything to proc off of it. We are able to get a Sheeran mill, so we use that so that way we can use our Planet Pop and get some protection with our Swampy Boy. Then use a couple of our Appaloosa negates. They go battle, crash over it. Main two, they make their Lu Fang, sorry, and their, I forget the Link monster's name, but they also make the Link monster. Now they trigger our Happy and we're able to add back 2 more cards, and we are just looking super nice here to hit them back on the crackback. We trigger our Rhino, we go into our Kaleido Heart, and this gets rid of the rest of the board basically for a nice easy win. Now we're feeling ourselves, we're feeling nice here. We take out our Super Police because they can't really be used against that deck, and we put in a Crime because knowing Ancient Warriors, I'm thinking there's no way they're not going to be going second, but hey, I guess they aren't. So now we lead with our Sharon to get around the Ancient Warriors pop that they'll have. And then they do pop it, so then we go Ash, and then they flip Summon Limit. Tough. Now we're going into game 3, do very minimal siding, and proceed with the match. Now we make them go first to try and play around the fact that they're probably going to be siding in a bunch of board breakers. We have a really good horse hand, and so what we do is we set up lethal while playing under Nib very easily with this hand. One of my favorite things about these horse cards, in fact. Long live the Black Flame Dragon, long live Horus. So, we're back and we're ready to finally fully review it. For a meta viability standpoint, I'm going to give it a 7.5. It would be higher if there weren't so many shifter decks, but I feel like the deck's power level is pretty high, and it doesn't have a bad time going second. Has a lot of gas, as it kind of needs to. It can play through quite a bit. Just not shifter. Or summon limit, as we saw. Price-wise, once we remove the IP, it's down to $455. I don't think you really necessarily need IP to play this deck to a good degree / competent level. What I would replace IP with, or not IP, SP with, is possibly an IP. Fire King is expensive as it is, and a deck like Flu is expensive as that is. I think price-wise, I almost have to give it a 5. Fun rating. I really think the fun rating is probably like a 9 or a 10, honestly. Lots of different lines you can go down. It's a gambling deck. You get to mill a bunch.
So, I'm gonna look at the cards too. I think it's worth it to build it if you already have this. But if you have to buy every single one of these cards, I don't know, man. Unless you like split it up on 2 different of your paychecks, but But yeah, so Derek said that he thought it was really fun to play. So I say you should do it. Okay?
Okie dokie then.
So thanks for watching.